All right, folks, we're back. Thank you for sitting through that first best of 3 with us. And thank you to Dove and Wolf throwing some bits our way. Nice way to start the cast. But we have gone to the Korean server for these two to play their matches, and I'm really excited to see this. This is a matchup I think is going to give me a better measurement of time. As bad as that pun may be, because again, we've been told so many good things about him. I don't actually know how good versus bad time is, but I know that aLive is a pretty good player, so seeing him go up against him in a TvT, I think will be a much better indicator. So,
I agree. I think,
fuck.
I was just stepping.
God damn it.
Your knowledge? What's going on?
I dropped my webcam.
Alright, well, you fiddle with that. I think that, yeah, unfortunately, I'm past the point of giving a lot of credit when pro gamers say that someone is good, to be honest. This isn't because I don't believe them, necessarily. It's just that I think that people who are good on ladder don't always translate, and often don't translate to tournaments until, like, a good year later. And I'm sure someone can really look into that and analyze it as much as they would want, but for me, it just is, like, a difference between, like, nerves, I suppose, sometimes plays into it. Be actually competitive in terms of like a best of series, in terms of instead of just a single game on the ladder. Being too obvious as people learn who you are, and prepare for you when it comes to tournaments. You can't actually get the same surprises you would on ladder. Like, there's just differences. It's very, I think, rare when you hear that someone's amazing on ladder and then instantly they start doing really well in tournaments.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I brought this up before in cast and just bring it up again, right? There's Masters, there's Grandmaster, then there's like this invisible tournament contender even above that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why, like, time, he might be able to make it through the bracket today. But maybe if they're not the cleanest games, like you can see some like raw power behind it when everyone's talking about, but you don't see the same.
Well, there's actually. I suppose. There's a thing brought up when we posted. Well, we didn't post. Someone else posted on Reddit our tweet, or No Regrets tweet about the Chinese players staying in the house. And they're kind of like, "What? The Chinese players? What?" And what a lot of people don't know is like there's a lot of Chinese events that go on. Some of them quoting the GPL and some of the NSH TV or whatever leagues, but of course the one we probably most of you will know, Lei Fang Cup and things like this. You don't see a lot of Chinese events because they're not really set up for English broadcasts. For those who don't know, there's also a Chinese server that you cannot even easily access. It doesn't come built in default to the client of StarCraft 2. There's a lot of things where time might actually be a tournament contender that we're not aware of, again, because we don't get to see these events, but players who may have practiced against him may know about and such. So really, I couldn't tell you whether Time is an amazing player because of ladder versus tournaments versus what have you, but I'm excited to see how he'll do measured up versus aLive.
I forgot we're casting aLive, the maker of lobbies.
You know what though, I'm actually 100% convinced at this point he does it for you, because while you haven't been here, I've had to make his lobbies.
Oh,
I'm just gonna answer aLive. No, aLive, do you think Zombie Grub is pretty? And be like, no English.
Do you like me? Yes, absolutely, definitely.
I'm gonna instead say something nice and not passive aggressive word. aLive, you are the best. Always make lobby with mod, and I'll give him a heart. That way he knows it's sincere. Because I actually do. I really appreciate that he does this. A lot of players will make the lobby, they won't whisper us the maps, we'll join, we'll ask to remake, and it becomes a whole thing. I feel like there's like a StarCraft version of a Seinfeld episode we could write based off just the stupid stuff that goes on. It's not important, but happens every day.
Seinfeld was the least funny show I've ever watched.
Actually, there were some good moments, but I agree. Like overall, I didn't get the hype for it like a lot of people did. But I've actually really... Well, so funny enough for me, I've loved a lot of the stuff he's done since Seinfeld, though. When he cameoed on 30 Rock, it was amazing. I really like the comedians and cars thing he does online, too. I think that's great.
Sure.
But maybe Seinfeld, for me, was just, like, barely outside of my generation. Again, there are moments I really appreciate and I think were funny, and you always see those same clips, I guess, from the show posted on Reddit and whatever, but I've never sat down and, like, looked forward to a full episode of Seinfeld. But I've looked forward to moments of like Kramer bursting into the room or George freaking out over nothing. I don't know.
Okay. believe that. I also think it's kind of, for me, somewhat of the Friends effect as well, where like these sitcoms, I think it's very hard, especially nowadays when everyone hates laugh tracks, first of all, but then second of all, just like generation differences, to get people into older sitcoms. Like, my mom tries to make me watch like sitcoms from the 60s, and sometimes they're funny, but I don't quite get it as much. And then if I ever told someone, I never try because I know it won't work, I'm like, to watch Friends for the first time and they didn't watch it when they were growing up, then I don't think it would ever work. Like, they'd just be like, well, it's okay, but it's not like fantastic. What's so great about it? But you know, for me, like, I'm always watching it. It's my go-to rewatch show. So
I don't have a lot of rewatch shows, but Futurama has been mine, I think, at most go-to things.
Yeah, I have like 4 or 5. So I feel bad though, honestly, because like I should be watching new things and getting new experiences and all that, but then I don't. Actually, I've been watching. So Netflix like redistributes, or whatever you want to call it, the CNN stuff. Oh, we're getting the game. Like Tom Hanks produced this show about the decades. I think I talked about it before, but they came up with a new season, whatever you want to call it, on Netflix, the 80s. And I like watching that stuff. I had no idea Ronald Reagan was, well, actually, I had no idea Ronald Reagan sounded like that, which is the first thing I had to learn. Have you ever heard him speak?
No.
You really think about it? Yeah, you think you would have, because he's kind of an influential president, but no, I never have either. The only thing I've ever heard is that Back to the Future Part 2, when he's on like the 80s throwback restaurant and he's on the TV, and I was like, is that really how he sounds? Like, he sounds kind of weird. That's totally what he sounds like. Who knew? It wasn't just a joke.
Most of my old people history knowledge nowadays, if I'm going to be completely honest, doesn't come from documentaries or seeing things like that on TV. It's from watching epic rap battles of history.
Oh, yeah, that's another way to do it, yeah.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, game number 1 in a brand new best of 3. You're watching the TING Open Season 3 Wildcard Qualifiers. Spawning here on the bottom right side of the map, we do have the more well-known red Terran player, aLive.
In the top left is the blue Terran. He is Time.
And, of course, we have swapped over to the Korean server, as both these players are playing from Korea. Again, Time gets a little bit of an extra shout out because he is staying in the BaseTradeTV house in Korea. Really awesome and excited about that. As a totally not shameless promotion moment, if you guys haven't, take a moment to type !MEGA in chat. I don't much care if you contribute to the fundraiser, although I would really love if you did, but over the next, I want to say 2 weeks to a month, we should have that set up in a much more proper, professional, and good to go manner, because again, with players coming in from WESG, Scarlet returning home, Kelazur staying in the house, we're going to be able to start putting out some cool video content, but most importantly, hopefully start casting some sort of in-house tournaments. And thinking about what it is right now, like, consider who's in the house. You got Scarlet, Kelazur, Time, and Cloudy. If we made like a in-house group of that, that's 2 Terran Protoss and a Zerg, that would make for a really fun group in my opinion.
I thought when we said we were going to make a team, we are just going to make them all Terrans. What happened to that pact?
Well, unfortunately, this isn't really a team, but yeah.
It's as close as we're ever gonna get.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm all the Terrans.
My fingers are crossed at this point. We got most of the headache and the behind-the-scenes drama and the money issues out of the way. So from this point onward, the house should be smooth sailing. And I'm very excited to see who ends up. I'm hoping that like the allure is there. Like right now, we have a few folks lined up, but honestly, we've got about 7 months of the year free still for 1, if not maybe 2 players to come and go as they please. So it'd be nice to have some more people drop by. But again, more about that later. We are, of course, casting the TING season finals. Now, at the time of broadcasting this on January 15th, we do not have a public location announced for the live finals, but of course, Samriab and I know, and people from TING know, and so forth. But there is going to be a live finals for this. And I'm very excited that we can make this happen. It's the first time we've tried to do something like this. It's not going to be the biggest blowout event. You know, it's not going to be WESG $400,000 prize or anything. But I think a live finals is a lot of fun, and it makes for a cool event that fans in North America can attend. Because we have said at the very least that it is going to be in California. People know that much.
California, where it's never cold, and it's great.
Well, suppose it's like been raining a bunch in weird weather there.
Oh my god, raining? That's freezing.
Well, you remember, like, actually, it rained once last year when we had gone to California, or we had just gotten there after the rain, and everyone was like, there's so many accidents on the road, and like people just didn't know what to do with wet roads.
Oh, I don't remember that part. I think you might have mentioned it to me though, and I was like, that's why there was a bunch of traffic. But it sounds about right. Yeah, it's also what California is known for: not raining and having, you know, perpetual droughts. So it's good that they're getting rain. We did have 2 macro openers, which was a little bit risky from, I would say, aLive more so than Time, because Time is kind of the question mark player here. It's possible they play against each other. In fact, it's kind of likely they play against each other, with aLive actually participating in like the Fang Cups, which we were talking about earlier, as well as Time obviously playing on the Korean ladder. But, you know, they really remember each other. I'm not sure about that, but not both macro openers. Reapers both die, nothing to be said there, and both even adding on Ravens, so pretty mirror games.
Yeah, actually, all things considered, we didn't really go over it, but I'm just so used to seeing Banshees. We've just, for 9 months, seen Banshees be the preferential opening, but both players playing Ravens kind of around this. Cyclones are kind of okay for defense if you're worried about your opponent hitting you with a Cyclone too. There's a fair amount of metagaming you're going to have to do as Terran in TvT, but for the most part, these guys ended up playing just both very safe and no one really getting too aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't... In myself, I don't really like Banshee openers anymore, just because I think it's always one Banshee. You know, I really feel like if you see the 2 and 3 Banshees, then it's like almost never worth it, but sometimes we do see it. But the Raven, Viking, or just Viking opener... It just, I don't know, it gives you so much, like, more potential for, like, a push early. It gives you so much room for the mid-game, because Viking control can be very big. Auto-turret harassment's always useful. Ravens have become a very, very good tool for TvT, and I just like it better. It also, like, you can still start stim at a relatively good time, whereas with Banshees, I feel like you're really delaying a lot. Because you want to get a Banshee, and you want to get Cloak, and you may want to get a second Banshee, and then you want to get a Viking or a Raven to affect the other person's Banshee, and just, like, the whole thing.
Well, the first auto turret got a couple of SCVs. That second one scratches some of the Marines. But if the Marines weren't here and it was just a tank, it could have actually killed the tank. Auto turrets deal a significant amount of damage, but it's like Viking's going to push that off and no more harassment out of Time. Time, of course, took a little bit of a better advantage when it came to the Reapers early, so we got a nice scout on aLive, but really not able to do too much with that. His third base is going to get canceled temporarily. It's kind of annoying. A new SCV is going to come over and finish that off.
We got some on the way. Stim +1. I mean, everything is really lining up with each other. Sometimes this happens. I feel like this is becoming not more popular, but like 6 months ago, I feel like I would never see a TvT, especially on the Korean server, go to 3 bases without much happening. But then the past 6 months, it's been like once every 2 dozen games.
So it's not even that not much is happening, though, right? Like, okay, there's not been a lot of action so far, but 2 big things have happened. And one is decisively aLive gearing up for what is looking to be a big 2-base all-in, whereas Time taking that third creates a big opening, but also the possibility of getting ahead through greed. If aLive can't actually find a good position to get in here, you know, TvT is not really about overwhelming numbers. You can't just move in with 30 extra army supply because it could all get blasted away by good positioned tanks. So I'm actually a little bit worried for aLive. On one hand, his army is better. It's going to be bigger, and it should be hitting harder, especially with Time having taken 2 medevacs away from this. However, without a third CC, if he takes any damage from these medevacs, recovering from over that damage is not easy to do.
Yeah. He'll scan ahead. Obviously, he already knows the third CC is on location, so he wants to kill it, but tanks are pre-siege. These Marines catch aLive's tank.
And it gets to the middle line.
They're gone.
Yeah, aLive's going to keep going with this push, and I don't blame him, but auto turrets is about 4 of them that can come down. Drops him for some hits, but the Raven kind of gets messed up. The attack's not so great initially, but he clears out the Marines. Now he pushes in, and Time's tanks are spread out so nicely. I think he's going to be able to whittle away at this, and I think eventually his production wins out.
Those Marines might have should have gone for it.
Oh, Command Center should have died.
His production probably is going to wear out, and I didn't even realize, yeah, exactly, the Command Center went down. I guess the SCVs thought they would be chased, but they weren't, so aLive still has 35, but only 1 Command Center.
Quick reaction out of aLive. By the way, he had left the tank alone to go kill that Command Center, and if he had done so, then the Marines would have dropped directly on top of it. Time making good moves, but aLive playing very strong. Again, that army lead is what he really had going into this. He's still going to rally across the map, and at this point, whether aLive wants to be or not, he is all in. It's one base. He can't do much, but again, I feel like Time's production should eventually win out. Marines will kill these Marines. If he takes out these tanks, that's it.
Yeah, he assumed there wasn't going to be reinforcements. Like, his tanks should have been sieged on the high ground. He actually might have messed up right there.
Well, actually, pulling the boys into this will buffer for a little bit, but not enough to break the tanks. Sets up his own tanks, however, and I think this still might just be enough. Even if he loses a lot of SCVs, the fact is he kept the 3rd CC alive. He's still mining off of his natural, and aLive has nothing back at home. Long distance mining feels bad.
Yeah. It's good that he stopped him at the natural, because once Time's production got compromised, he could have definitely lost this game.
If Time were to take a breather here and build like one Liberator, I think he wins so easily.
Maybe.
But
sniping the tank, not a bad idea, and Time's Marines even get chewed away by the tanks.
This is surprising too. aLive's doing a great job starting to bring. I'm not sure why Time brought the command center to the front line. He's going to lose his orbital, which kind of sucks. It's starting to burn. If aLive was focusing it, maybe it will.
Yes. Oh no, he's not going to save it. Keep moving.
Okay, both players are messing up with the CC. Come on, man. Okay, not worried about that, though. Worried about the fight. Takes the tanks, catches them on siege, but is that going to be enough? Widowmines are out. I'm not sure what a Widowmine's going to do. Backs up, pulls away once again, and aLive with a very... I don't even...
Time is going to win or lose this game.
I don't... I'm blown away by this. This is nicely done by aLive. This was a great move out of Time, but a better response out of aLive. GG.
I feel like aLive shouldn't have won that game.
I concur with this. I don't think it's necessarily, though, that aLive... It's not that he didn't deserve to win the game, per se, but it's like Time... I feel like got a little bit desperate. I feel like he got a little bit flustered towards the end because he had everything, I feel like, on lockdown up until he dived for those tanks and didn't kill them. If he had dived for those 3 tanks and successfully killed 2, not even all of them, but just 2 of them, he would have been able to easily hold the rest of it.
Yeah, there was, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of things he could have done better after his tanks died. I don't think he can save those tanks. I think they're just dead. But after the tanks died, reinforcing, staying in the natural, just playing a very slow game instead of trying to bust out like he did, might have been the better solution.
Normally, I don't quote tweets too much on the cast. We'll discuss ones that have been said, but I have to read this one from Rotterdam. It's too fucking funny. It says, talking about Twitch donations with the Muslim. He says, yeah, Americans give more donations. Twitch Major replies, really? Americans give me donations, only a wall. Jesus. Of course, the Major is Mexican, and that whole can of worms. Some bad news. Good news, bad news, by the way. Major was scheduled to come to the house with Kelazor, same time, same everything, and stay in the Korean house and train after WESG. But due to some flight, I guess, mess-ups, he's not going to be able to be there for a couple of weeks. As far as I'm aware, he's still planning to attend, but he's not going to be there right away like we had initially hoped. So that's going to be a little bit sad, but I hope Major still makes it.
Yeah. I don't know how the flight's messed up, but okay.
Also, we have made references to this, but to let you guys know, I've told the players at this point directly, anyone who stays in the house for at least 2 months is going to be eligible for an invite to our $30,000 event at the end of the year. So it's kind of a little bit of an incentive for folks to save for more than just 1 month, barely, but also a little bit more rewarding at the same time, too. You won't have to play through grueling qualifiers, and you'll get to play for sure, like, in a $30,000 event. Like, hello? Context here, I think I Am Gyeonggi was, what, $35,000?
Really, was it?
It wasn't a very big prize pool. It was not terribly big. I bring this up not because like I'm comparing, but I'm surprised because the most recent announcement, Katowice, has an insanely large prize pool. Also, they're paying out to like 44th place or something like that too.
Oh, well, yeah. I guess that is it's the one StarCraft IAM of the year, right?
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think so. There's not many events, to be honest, for StarCraft this year. Well, there's not. It doesn't sound like there's very many because we've lost, 7 dream hacks, and we have 4 dream hacks instead of like 7 or whatever it was, and then the IMs was always like 3, maybe 4, and now I think we only have 1. But we have 3 seasons of GSL and then 2 super seasons, and then there's
but
I'm forgetting, but.
Well, as I crack my voice there. Yeah, but you know what? We got BaseTradeTV stepping it up with the low end of things, so whatevs. We got great events coming.
Yeah.
More on that in a moment. But guys, game number 2 underway. Bottom left side of the map is going to be the red Terran player, aLive, up 1-0 currently.
Don't know how. In the top right says the blue Terran. He is Time.
And yeah, I was just looking it up while you were speaking. Yeah, Gyeonggi at $35,000, surprising. So that would actually be really, really stellar and awesome if we could. I would love if we could just raise a little bit extra more and go above and beyond that. But again, for us guys, $30,000 is the base prize pool for our big event at the end of the year. A lot of it hasn't really been set in stone, so we don't have a lot to talk about for it. But for those who don't know, again, the $30,000 security deposit we put on the house and the training place in Korea, when we get that back, that's the money we're going to use for the prize pool. So the money is already essentially there and paid for. We don't need any help fundraising that. The fundraiser we currently have going is to help fundraise for things like better venues and better conditions for the players, etc., etc. But a bit of a Reaper scuffle goes down. Last time, Time did take the win off of this, but a little bit awkward. They both have to disengage. Reaper fights are the most Han versus Greedo thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Who shot first? Well, Time is going for that one base that's they both disregarded last game. Whereas aLive will be on the defensive with Command Center. Finishing up right now as we speak. He's got a Widowmine on the way. Looks like Time might be going for Banshees. Maybe.
Well,
Positioning of the starport. Yeah, there we go. It's a little weird to see it on the barracks instead of on the factory, but.
Well, he annihilates the Reaper, and I thought for a moment would continue to dive on in. Just kind of wasting some shots, I suppose, on the Command Center. But yeah, as he swaps over, Banshee comes out for this, and frankly, it's not that. I really don't think aLive can defend against this unless Times, specifically the Cyclone, gets hit by the Widowmine shots. I mean, there's so much damage that comes in from the ground. The Banshee isn't even the biggest problem here. Like, honest to goodness, it's going to be... Oh, I like the focus fire swap.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, if he didn't kill the Cyclone, this would have been absolutely unmanageable. I mean, killing Marines is great because this opens up for the Banshee to have a little bit more leeway to do things.
I thought that meant if I was going to heal the Marine.
No, it's going for, I guess, a rush, pick up, and drop. But the problem with this is, and this is where it gets awkward, right? A Widowmine doesn't one-shot SCVs like it does probes and drones, so you'll never see one Widowmine get 14 kills. It's going to get, like, one kill and then badly damage a lot of other SCVs. And without a single Marine or a Hellion or something inside this to follow it up, this is going to do minimal damage.
I guess, I mean, while I agree, it kind of seems weird for the non-Banshee person trying to be going for a Widowmine drop.
There's two scans,
he's not going to get Banshees. He's just going to get Vikings. And defend against this Banshee very well. Time. Oh, no. Time. Yeah, definitely kill that.
Not going to escape.
But the Widowmine, while it doesn't actually like kill a bunch of SCVs, it does, I guess, suppose, it forces out a scan. It might have gotten a little bit of scouting if he, hadn't already seen the Banshee. And there's a possibility he gets 2 shots. So in that case, it would have done a lot of damage.
Well, by the looks of it, I'm guessing the first one went off on the SCV taking gas, as it's 2 out of 3, so it didn't really even hurt the rest of them that badly. So funny enough, like a Banshee versus this Widowmine, they end up getting the same amount of worker kills so far. But I'm not sure Time has realized what the issue is yet, and we do have a fairly large drop coming this time around. It's going to kill it with SCVs. It gets the job done, but now there's a Cyclone and 4 Marines, and a Cyclone hits really hard. However, Time's also pushing over the very scary force.
Well, Time doesn't actually have that impressive of an army supply here. His units can be impressive, like the Banshee snipes that tank, but it doesn't. Tank takes out the other tank, and this looks like it might just be the end for Time.
Yeah, I got a little bit too
aggressive. Oh my god. We go for it.
I'm so proud of you for making that pun. But unfortunately, I saw what he was trying to do, and I think in his mind, if he had been able to break that tank, even if he had lost the Banshee in doing so, he'd break it with everything else. But the problem is there's still Vikings. They landed, they took care of the rest, and this was a game that was definitely going to go in the favor of aLive through these actions every single, time.
Oh, they're going to continue making that joke. Yeah, aLive's definitely won this game. This really started off with a Widowmine, I would say, interrupting Time's ultimate plans of destruction. It's supposed to be, the Cyclone gets in with the Hellion, with the Reaper, and those things can actually do quite a bit of damage over a long period of time in a main base. And the Banshee follows up. Well, none of that happened. Banshee follow-up sucked.
What I'm really interested in, because I didn't check the vision for this, is I'm not sure if he actually saw the Widowmine or not. If he saw the Widowmine, GG's. If Time saw that Widowmine, then he made a mistake going up the ramp the way he did. But if he didn't, then it was an understandable mistake. So I'm curious on how that looked for him. But congratulations to aLive. He will advance in the brackets and move on to round 3. Where he'll be playing against either Reverse or Tails. It looks like Super knocks out Goblin, and Super may be fighting Jockshi in the next round. That might be the match we look for. Where's our good pal Cloudy in these brackets, though? He's been knocked out to the losers brackets. We'll see how he does down there. Penguin and Armani and a couple others down there as well. Walkover's being performed, but actually, while I'm excited about that, we may have Gumiho versus Sue in round 3 as well. Ooh. We have a couple of good matches potentially lined up. We're gonna go back to the North American server. I guess I'll sit here on Korea if you want to go back to North America, so we can fish out who we want to cast next a little bit more easily. But we do have to wait for everybody to get an opponent, so we may be gone for a little bit longer than average on this break. But we'll be back as soon as we know we have a game. So regardless of whether it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes, thank you guys for watching the TING Open Qualifiers, and we'll see you soon.